Evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Freedom Thinking Community Group. The date is Wednesday, the 15th of October, 2 days after my birthday. I am now 46 years old. I know, Lise. I know. What was that shock face actually for? Be honest.
I thought you were 36.
Thanks, Lise. That's all right. That's what I wanted to hear. It's like, is he only 46? Um, yeah, welcome. Sorry it's a Wednesday. Well, I'm not sorry it's a Wednesday. I can't help the fact it's a Wednesday. Sorry, community group's been on Wednesday. If you'd just done the maths very quickly in your head, you realise that Monday was actually my birthday and we went out for a meal. So apologies about that, but I had a lovely meal, so I'm not going to apologise too much. Um, yeah, welcome. So hopefully Jen will be joining me later on. Anybody who doesn't know me, anybody's clicking on this in YouTube, my name's Dave Elleray. I am one half of Freedom Thinking. The other half is upstairs putting our bairn to bed. Yeah, this is a Freedom Thinking via donation community group. So we do these via donation to make them accessible to anybody. All donations are greatly received. If you're watching this in catch up in YouTube, look in the description and you'll find means by which to make donations if you wish. If you find these videos useful, if you find them, if you're getting benefit from them, please consider making a donation. The money goes to Jenny and I to continue doing our work. And yeah, we really, really appreciate everybody. Thank you so much to everybody who donates. Thank you so, so much. We're so appreciative. You help us keep us going. Just going to welcome Dan in. Welcome, Dan. You right, buddy? Cool. Just going to go. Well done, dude. Yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you very, very much. All right. As most people know by now, these calls are led by people who come on the calls. These calls are led by people who send in messages, emails, people on the WhatsApp group, Telegram group who perhaps get in touch with us and say, could we have a conversation around X, Y, or Z? If you'd like to be added to a Telegram group or a WhatsApp group of Freedom Thinking events and offers and stuff like that, WhatsApp, a Telegram group, please get in touch. Drop us an email with your telephone number stating WhatsApp, Telegram to info@freedomthinking.co.uk. And we're also available to work with privately. We're always here. Get in touch. info@freedomthinking.co.uk. And our website is freedomthinking.co.uk. My phone number is on there. You're probably better off emailing us because my phone's just decided it's not going to be a phone anymore. Yeah, but I can be contacted on WhatsApp. No, I can be contacted on Telegram or Signal. But other than that, my phone's just said, nah, it's over. Which I don't really have a problem with. Right, cool. Got that bit out of the way. Is there anything else I need to say? No, I think we've got, oh, I've got an event. We got an event in November. Early part of November, I think. We got a 2-day event in Essex. For anybody who's interested. When Jen comes, I will get her to share the information about that. So yeah, there's a 2-day event with Jen and myself in Essex, South Essex, Malden, where the sea salt's from Kendal, where the mint cake's from. So Malden, where the salt's from. Yeah, so if anybody's interested in that, info@freedomthinking.co.uk. I'll get Jen to share a bit more about that. So does anybody have a topic that they'd like to, any direction they'd like to take the conversation tonight? Lise. Muted. Still muted. Still muted.
I do, but it might be a bit kind of dark, and it might be something better that I'm having a message with you about first, because it's about something that's happened that's been horribly traumatic, and
Okay.
it might trigger. But then it's not suicide, and I know you've spoken about that, so I don't know. Would you rather me talk to you, and
If
then
you're
we
happy
could?
to talk about it, love, I'm happy to I'm happy to go ahead.
Okay, because you know what,
The way I
it's
see it, Lise, the way I see things, this is life. I don't know who listens to this, and I don't know who may benefit from the conversation.
okay. So a couple of weeks ago, um, my ex that I've barely spoken to for a year and a half got in touch to, and I went round, and he's told me that he's I'm going to have to go somewhere else because Tilly's coming home, and we'll have dogs barking.
I can hear I.
That he's been diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer, and um, on that night, um, on that night, my beloved cat got very sick, and I spent the night at the vet's, and sadly, he didn't make it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lise.
And that bad. And but then I thought, well, things come in threes and it can't get any worse. So I'll put a light on me. And on Sunday night, the dogs, I've got 6 rescue dogs. I was walking the dogs, and I just got round the corner and I heard somebody shouting, "Get here! Get here! Get here!" And I thought, oh my God, I know whose voice that is. It's this scroty scrote round the corner. And I thought that must be his dog that he's shouting. And I was like, oh shit. It came round the corner like a bullet and smashed into my dogs like a flock of pigeons. It got one of the dogs, the chihuahua, the tiny chihuahua, and managed to get that off him. But then he got hold of the other chihuahua, and it was quite horrific. And I rushed them to the emergency vets, where Twinkle spent 2 nights and was supposed to come home Tuesday morning and was doing well, even though I'm not going to say the graphic details, but it was pretty graphic. And they said 10 o'clock that night, she's doing well, she's doing well. It's going to take a long road of recovery, but she's doing well. We'll ring you first thing in the morning, let you know how she's doing, and you can come pick her up. And they rang me and said, unfortunately, sadly, she died of her injuries.
Oh, Lise.
So it's just been 2 weeks of utter hell. I'm going to nurse Hugh, even though we've barely spoken for a year and a half. I'm going to nurse him to the end because I don't want anybody to die alone, and it's going to be very aggressive and stuff. But the trauma of, but that, and I knew that the of losing the cat was bad. Trauma of finding out one day that you terminally ill, and this horrific full attack. And guess what? The police are like, sorry, it's dog on dog. And it's like, what? And the police won't do anything. And I'm told if I take things further, that things could, because of who he is and stuff. So, so how do I know you've spoken to the of people getting through awful traumas, and I want to come out of this somehow. I don't want to go under with this. It's a lot to deal with. I mean, Twinkle was the most charming, and she was beloved by so many, and Bo's struggling, and I'm hoping he's going to make it through. And yeah, I'm trying to support you. And I know I've got to look after myself, but I realize there are people in Gaza who have lost families, watch children and feeling so helpless and powerless. And I feel really bad, like I've let Twinkle down. Like, why wasn't I there when she passed? Was all this replaying stuff, which isn't helpful, replaying stuff of she would have been on her own, and uh, trying not to get caught up in the trauma of it and overwhelmed because I've got, Tilly, my foster daughter, and the other dogs, and just trying not to get caught up in the replaying of things and the ifs, whats, shoulda, woulda, coulda, and how do I turn this into something? How do I not get swallowed up in the trauma of it? Because I just, if I am a very sensitive person, and I don't know, but I do know that people have got through awful tragedies and traumas and come out with a better understanding of how the mind and how you know there'll be a good handful of people here who are awful tragedies out with it with a better understanding of things.
Lise, can you just repeat that last 30 seconds again, what you just said just then, because my internet wasn't brilliant.
No, it's probably mine that's not stable. I'll go down the bottom of the stairs. Um, um, just how do I navigate this without getting swallowed up by it? And how can somebody, like the people that you've seen in, South Africa and stuff that have, and the anger I feel towards this low life. The anger, the grief, the wanting to kneecap him. I'm not sure how to navigate it without blaming myself. Thinking I've let Twinkle down, all that stuff. Sorry if that's a heavy one to drop on you.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's really,
But
really,
it is life, isn't it? These things.
yeah. But when it happens to you, that sounds absolutely horrific. You know, I think one of the things you can do to begin with is give yourself a break for how you feel. You're allowed to be pissed off about that.
And I guess I'm allowed to feel all the emotions that I feel of grief and anger and
Of, of, of course. If that happened to Rusty when I had Rusty,
I was thinking of Rusty.
fucking livid.
Yeah.
I'd be livid.
I know, you see, if it was you, you could have gone and kneecapped him. I can't go do that.
I won't bother with kneecaps. Um, no, there's a lot in there, Lise.
I know, too much a bit,
Yeah,
feels like.
I feel like I feel like first things first. Let's just have a look at how you feel before we get onto any of the other stuff. Right. First things first. One of our greatest causes of suffering is our judgment of our own feelings. Right. So we have a feeling we don't particularly like, and then we judge it. We're not neutral with it. We judge it. And then we create an impression within ourselves that we're getting life wrong or I could be better. Right. We're not sitting with the feeling. Right. We're not accepting that I feel really sad. So sad, in fact, I'm almost struggling to go there.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost struggling to go there. I'm that grief stricken that I lost a member of my family to a dog that, by all accounts, by the sounds of things, technically should have been on a lead, if not muzzled.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? And then you've got these useless bastards called the police, excuse my language, who seem to spend more time locking up people for tweets than actually doing any work. And
yeah.
you're not the first person this week to speak to me about the police doing absolutely nothing.
And I do realise their hands are tied because it's like, I'm sorry, they even put the phone down on me when I said, look, and she said, I told you it's a dog on dog incident, put the phone down. When I said, but the Dangerous Dogs Act of 1991.
Yeah. No, there's a friend of mine. He was very high up in the police force, very high up. And he's been complaining about the police. They've in the village down here, they've been having arson attacks every Tuesday night in the same village. And he's saying, why can't you put some police out? Put them on the church. It's Tuesday. It happens every Tuesday. It's happened every Tuesday for the last 8 weeks. Put somebody up on the church to be able to see the whole village. No, no. So, we are facing at the moment, we're facing a lot of bureaucratic nonsense, a lot of political nonsense. Um, when it comes to things like that, my sister's got a neighbour, she's 80-year old, she's on a tag for 3 years, looking at 10 years because she went to some anti-Palestine
Oh,
um, war kind of movement, not anti-Palestine, but pro
yeah.
anti-war movement, and she's looking at 10 years. She's part of a terrorist organization. She's an 80-year-old woman who lives in Kendal. She's not a terrorist, but she's the police in that, but they're not doing other things. It seems like they're really tangled up with politics at the moment, does police.
Mm.
Really tangled up with politics. Not all of them, because some of them are really, really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know a lot of them who are really awesome people, but it does seem like more and more the hands are being tied by politics, political movements, and whatever. But I think, yeah, just give yourself a break, Lise, and allow yourself to feel. If it was me, Lise,
Yeah.
I'd be feeling. I'd be crying, I'm sure.
I know I'm kind of scared. Yeah, kind of scared that if I let the tears start, then
Yeah, that doesn't happen, love.
I've done some screaming, when they rang and said, I'm so sorry she's not made it through the night. I was just screaming, no, no, because I was supposed to be bringing her home,
Yeah.
even though I knew it'd be a long journey and expensive. And and it's nearly 5 grand out of pocket, which the scrope won't be paying back while
No,
we're the taxpayer sat there funding his lifestyle. There's anger, there's grief, there's unjustness, there's but like the people in Gaza, or wherever, whichever side you're on, they're all human beings and they're all facing loss,
absolutely.
all both sides.
But don't use that as a don't use
N-
another thing to beat yourself with, love.
no, I'm not belittling what I've gone through and the horror and I don't know what to do when flashbacks start in the night of it going through it all, and I don't know I'm not sure how to navigate it really.
Yeah.
Mm.
The thing is with these things, they come and they go.
Mm. Yes, like waves.
Like waves, they come and they go. Okay. So when it's happening. And when it's not happening.
Mm.
Right. So when it's not happening.
Not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah. So when you're experiencing those flashbacks, you experience them for however long you experience them and then they stop. It stops. Okay. And I don't know why I remember things that I remember when I remember them. You know, things come into your mind in a moment. You can't
Yeah.
stop them.
Mm.
You can't stop them coming into your mind. Okay. It the mind the mind is a now thing. Okay. In the moment you've thought it, it's immediately in the past. So it's like gaining a respect and an understanding and an acceptance for the fact that we think, human beings think. And when they think, they experience. And if you've had a absolutely horrific, horrible, it seems to me, I don't know, a dog at the moment is, you know, your ex-partner, he's kind of he's on the to-do list, if you like. But what you're dealing with right now is the loss of your friend, your little friend, and also the picking up the pieces of the other little dog. And I don't know anybody who would go through that without getting upset. And if they did, I would really question why. How did you manage to negotiate that without getting upset? Because it's in our nature, you love them. Human nature really is love. And we quite often it's a lot easier for people to form bonds of affection with animals than it is with people. So
That's why I rescue animals.
yeah, and so it's like then you get these beings become, and they are beings, they are people. They're
They're
people,
sentient beings.
experiential beings just like us, just in a different form. They
Yeah,
feel, they love you, they care.
they do. They do.
Dogs, dogs to me are one of the most angelic forces on the planet.
Mm.
Rusty taught me so much about love. He taught me so
Mm.
much about forgiveness. And I mean seriously, that lad taught me about forgiveness when he came into my life. I learned so much from Rusty, how present he was, how he could carry a grudge. He could carry a grudge for a wee while. Like, there's been times we'd have an argument, and the next morning he's still kind of like, fuck off. But and he'd let me know that he was still harboring that grudge. But the forgiveness always came. And once it was forgiven, it was over. And that little lad, I used to watch him, he'd get excited, he'd feel, he'd show love, and if I was ever upset, he'd come and sit on my knee, and just sit quietly with me and just be there for me. And because these beings are seriously intuitive, they feel deeply. They're very good. They're not really lost in the intellectual analysis of life like the majority of human beings. They're not kind of lost in the intellectual dimension of thought. They are they're very connected to the deeper dimensions of thought, of consciousness, of beingness. And because of that, they kind of they're very good emotional skills, very, very high emotional intelligence do animals. And that's why, you'd if you're ever upset, quite often your dog will come and sit on your lap and just be with you.
Oh, Twinkle was so incredible at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you to lose your dog like that is, and in the most horrific way. I'll tell you now, Lise, you couldn't have done anything different.
No, I don't. I genuinely don't think I could.
You couldn't. It's impossible. You couldn't have done anything different. I don't even have to be there to have been there to have said that. And this goes for anybody in any circumstance at any point. You couldn't have done anything different. Anybody who's carrying around that idea that I coulda, woulda, should have done different. I could have done different.
No.
I wish I'd been different.
We only do what's best that we can do in that moment. We
Correct.
only And
We
I picked this sodding thing up that I can't even think what it weighs. I picked it up by the back legs. I was shouting to him to pick your dog up by the back legs, and he couldn't understand what I was talking about. And I picked humanly, I'm not big, but I picked it up because that's what, if a tip for anybody, if a dog is attacking your dog, pick the aggressor up by the back legs. It's about one of the only ways you're going to get it to drop.
right. Okay.
But it was too late. But well, it could have been, yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't have done anything different.
No, that's number one. I couldn't have done anything different in the moment.
Couldn't.
Number two, I went straight to the out of hours vets. And three, I said, no, absolutely keep her an extra night. Don't care what the costs are. Make sure she has, I'll find the money. Um, I just feel bad that she went on her own in the cage, although I know she'd have been whacked out on the Scooby snacks, you know. Um, and and the other thing I'm kind of worried about is that the press want to get hold of run the story, and the RSPCA are involved, and the dog warden, and they want to make a case because although they can't do anything under the dog on dog, she unfortunately can be classed as property and damage to property. And I found other people that have said, "Oh my God, that's the one that attacked mine." So I'm getting them to do, and I don't want the dog putting down. It's only a young dog. I want it taken off him because he trains it by giving it a good kicking.
Oh,
So I want the dog taken off him because I want that dog to go on and be rehabilitated and have a good life and know love.
yeah.
And but then, I'm worried about the repercussions because they're a large scroty family, and I don't want poison thrown over in my back garden and my windows putting through. So what do I do? So
That's something I couldn't give you.
no, no. But it's coming through this with value.
Well,
and with
over,
you and my partner and
over time, love, things are going to start to settle down. And as things start to settle down, you're going to start to see things differently. And I think over time, you'll start to, it's very difficult for us to figure out how am I going to sort the future out?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is this future stuff?
yeah,
We
yeah,
spend a lot of time trying to do that, which is kind of really the question you're asking me just then.
yeah.
How
How can I future proof?
yeah. And
I
I
can't.
just, you can't. But one thing that you can do is just be with it. Just be with what you are in the moment. Okay. And as you go through, your mind will bring you solutions to your problems.
Not the other way around. Yeah.
Okay. Your mind will start to bring you solutions. It's what the mind does. It works on things quietly without you even being aware. And it suddenly you'll get this insight. You'll be like,
Yeah.
I will do that. No, do you know what? I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to have a word with such and such a person. I'm going to see what they did. What did you know? And things will start to occur to you to have a conversation about, or perhaps to have a conversation about, or how you could potentially move forward. Because that's what happens. But it's
Mm,
very difficult. I feel like right now you've just unloaded a load of stuff, and you've clumped it all together into one big ball, and you've gone, this looks fucking impossible.
mm,
Okay, there's three very different things going on. There's your ex-partner, there's the cat, and there's the horrific. I was hoping you weren't going to say that, what you said. There's this horrific thing that's taken place, and if you can look at things rather than look at it's really easy for us to the overwhelm comes from when our mind is trying to hold so many things at once, or
mm,
it consolidates everything into one and goes, "Oh, this is all just too fucking much."
mm,
But when you kind of step back, when you're ready, I mean that, Lisa, when you're ready, don't try and force yourself into anything. Don't try and be anybody. Just be you and be how you're feeling. All right, just allow yourself to feel. None of these feelings, there's no such thing as a wrong feeling. If you went out and kneecapped that lad, you could say, well, that behavior perhaps isn't the most conducive for aligning yourself up with a future of a decent life, because chances are you're going to get repercussions.
mhm.
Okay. But the fact that you feel like doing that, that's not a wrong feeling. It's not a wrong feeling. All right. Sooner or later, that'll quieten down. It will. You know that you've been upset by other things in the past, and because I only know that because you're a human being, and they quieten down. All it's like if go back to the ocean analogy, there's a big ass storm passed through your waters, and your waves are choppy as hell, but the ocean just without effort it settles down again. Now, if the ocean tries to settle itself down, it has to move in order to settle down. Okay? Because that's what it is. When we're trying to settle ourselves down, that's mental movement. They're trying to rationalize stuff or whatever we're trying to do, trying to forgive or trying not to feel like this. The ocean is in a constant state of kind of movement, which is the opposite of actually what we were seeking. But if the ocean just leaves itself alone, and how does the ocean leave itself alone? It just accepts, you know what, I'm just fucked off right now. Right now, I'm just really pissed off. I'm really upset, right? And it allows those waves to pass through, to calm down, rather than trying to be anybody, trying to be anything, just being with those feelings and being with those thoughts and just allowing ourselves to feel. Okay. I don't know who the hell it was whoever came up with the idea that feelings are wrong. There's no such thing as wrong feelings. There's no
Mm.
such thing as a wrong thought. You know, when you start putting them into action, you can say there's wrong behavior in like in society. But at the end of the day, if you can just allow yourself just to go through, just to take all the shoulda, woulda, coulda, take all the because it couldn't be any different. It couldn't be any different. Take all the
No.
shoulda, woulda, coulda, take all the judgment of how you're feeling and and just scrap it and just allow yourself to feel. You'll find that it'll pass through quicker if you at least one of the biggest fears that people carry is that what you described. I'm afraid that if I cry, I'm going to break into a million pieces. Somehow my mind is going to run out of control, almost like a train going down.
Mm.
Right? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Are you still there, love? You're frozen. All right. Us trying to control our mind is done from a space of fear. Okay. I'm so afraid of my own mind running away with itself. It's not the way it works. That doesn't happen to people. Okay. If you were to allow yourself to cry, I'm sure you'd start to feel a damn sight like you've let your body do what it needs to do. Apparently, when you release tears for each, if you're crying because of grief, you release X chemicals through your eyes. If you're crying
Mm.
of anger, you release X, Y chemical through your eyes. If you're crying because of joy, you release Z capital through chemical through your tears. You release different chemicals through your tears depending on your state of being. Now that's not without purpose,
Yeah.
right? You are perfectly designed to experience this world. You are perfectly you would not you're not one of your creations, at least you're not. Human beings aren't one of our great inventions. There is a deep intelligence that invented all of this, created all of it. Okay, it's and that intelligence courses through us. It is what we truly are. All right. It never made a mistake when it came to Lisa. Didn't take its eye off the ball. All right. You are fine to feel, you are fine to cry, you are fine to let go of your reins of your own mind. Okay, you're not going to start spiraling out of control. What you'll find is you'll start to be given new thought, more useful thought, because at the moment your thought, and this is perfectly normal given what's just happened. All right. At the moment, you're afraid of your own mind.
I have been, yeah, for a lot of years.
You have been for a lot of years, I know.
But
But
but strangely, I've really strongly feel that at least there are lessons to be learned here that are going to take you forward, that are going to make you realize that the fear of your mind, of your anxiety, or the anxiety that you're going to realize that that was all nothing, and that although this, I just want this to be of value
well,
somehow.
again, Lise, take that off your to-do list. Just let it unfold. Let it unfold, love. You know, more often than
Yeah.
not, that's the gift of memory. It's the gift of insight. More often than not, you look back in years to come and you go, wow, because of that, I've experienced this, and this. You know, and I am always the first person to say that our hardest times are more often than not our greatest learnings for what's really important in life.
Yeah.
But it does depend on what direction we choose. Are we going to allow ourselves to become bitter and twisted? Or
Mm,
are we going to allow through the opportunities, other opportunities that are available to us? Because I know plenty of people who go through hard times and they just turn out to be bitter, twisted people.
mm.
But then I also
I
know,
don't want that.
no, I don't think you will. And I know plenty of people who go through very hard times and they become more compassionate and understanding and forgiving through it and more loving, more accepting of life. Like somebody very dear to me had psychosis, and it, it got so bad. We were looking after them, and it got so bad this one night, so bad, like you couldn't believe it, like what was happening. I just left this house and I went out and I ask, I speak to higher intelligence than my ego. I speak to it. I ask, I pray. And I went outside and I looked up at the stars and I'd never seen like the stars were just absolutely outstanding. I said, what does this circumstance need? Instantaneously, I got an answer back. And the answer via my mind came the words love and patience, love and patience, love and patience. And when you've run out of love and patience for yourself. Number one. The second thing that came was when this individual forgives, it's all over. The only thing that was creating the psychosis was the person's inability. This is the information I was given. The only thing that was creating that person's psychosis was the inability to forgive. Okay. They got themselves into such a heady, dark space that they'd started dreaming up all kinds of realities. There may have been other factors to play, but I do believe forgiveness was a big factor to play. And this is not me telling you to forgive, by the way.
Mm,
This is this individual I'm talking about. And I remember it was my turn to look after them, and I said to Jen, I'm going to go down, sit on the bench for a little while, just by the field, about 100 meters away from their house. I just want to be on my own, just want to say a prayer. And I said this, I spoke to God and asked him to open up a channel between me and them. And one of the things that I asked for, I said, look, can you please open up this communication channel between me and them? And I sat quietly and I invited the person in and I held the hands and I just told them what I'd been told. In my mind's eye, I pictured them looking beautiful and healthy and just the beauty that they are. And I held the hands and looked them right in the eye. I spoke to them. I said, you need to forgive. And then I said to God, I said, Source, I said, close down this communication line. And I went in the house and usual, all hell was breaking loose. And a couple of days later, one of her friends, one of the ladies who was looking after them, she said, oh, they said a very interesting thing today. I said, oh, what was that? And she said, oh, well, they said to me it was a full moon, isn't it? I said, yeah, it is a full moon. Said our friend, you can make a wish if you want. And this individual went, well, I don't want this and I don't want that and I want them to fuck off and all this stuff. And our friend said, no, that's not the way a wish works. For a wish, you have to wish for something positive. And our friend said that they looked a little bit and looked around a little bit and they said, oh, well, if that's the case, then I wish for forgiveness. It could be a complete and utter fluke. It could be coincidence. But forgiveness was the thing that came to them to let go. Like the bitterness that this individual held on to, and the thing that came to me was they had to forgive me. They had to forgive Jen. They had to forgive their families. And they had to forgive life for being fucking messy. They had to forgive life for being messy.
Yeah.
And because the bitterness that that individual carried made them very ill. And bit by bit, it happened. They forgive. And there is no animosity now. And when I look at that individual, what I see is a wise human being, somebody who's learned some very hard life lessons. And I call them life lessons. And if somebody's learning a life lesson,
Mm.
the way I would personally, the way I would look at it is that individual learning to love? Is that individual learning to love that they don't love? Because that we don't love is what is fear. And fear is where we get tangled up and life becomes hard work.
Yeah.
But the thing is there's this state of being that you can kind of, it's not even so much you have to fall in love with it, but if an individual can accept the power of acceptance, it happened. Okay, it's happened. Okay, it's happened. It's true. It's happened. Do you know what I mean? It's like the moment we can find acceptance is really the same kind of thing as love. You
Mm.
cannot have acceptance without love. It's a facet of love. It's a face of love. Okay. And that acceptance will prevent our being from becoming bitter and twisted and objectionable and doing violent retributional acts that are just going to line up. That's what karma is. Karma is what you do today affects tomorrow. If I choose to go around and smash the fuck out of that individual, I've now lined myself up a reality. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I've set in motion in the future. I've set in motion a events. I've set forth a pathway. I've opened a pathway. I've created a path. I've created a timeline. That
But have I not created, well, what have I done? Well, what have I done wrong for all this to happen?
I don't think you've done anything wrong, Lise. I don't think you'd. Why would you ask that question?
Well, because I've been trying to make a connection with God, the universe, a higher, and I've started, praying and stuff, and trying to make this connection with, a higher intelligence, a higher, and and I prayed that Sylvie would make it through, and he didn't, and I accepted that was kind of God's will or whatever. And then with Hugh, that's very unfair because he's about to retire in February and has worked so hard and is a good man. And then this happened, on Sunday, and it was awful. But I prayed that Twinkle would make it through, and 10 o'clock that night they said she's doing really well. And then to get that news on Tuesday was just and I'm like, well, what's all that? What's the power of prayer all about then? What's the point in that? And what's the point in me trying to cultivate a faith in something other than myself when all that's happened is this? So
Yeah, I understand that as well.
So it's like, well, I told you you're a piece of shit.
Who?
Like your dad told you, you know.
Well, that's not true,
So,
Lisa.
so like God's just telling you the same thing.
No, God couldn't do that.
Well, it's surely what it feels like.
No, but it isn't. That's not true, that, Lisa. That's not true.
No.
There's no judgment. There's no judgment in what people would call God. Not in There is in the when we turn it into a man, kind of we give it a man kind of persona and we give it a humanized version of what God is. But God in and of itself is there is no judgment. It doesn't judge. It's a state of pure love. So no, that's not God doing that.
No.
That's the intellect trying to creating a concept.
Yeah, but I don't. I wanted to. I've been trying to cultivate something with somebody high, something higher than myself,
It may have
and now I just feel
may have been
abandoned.
it may have been it may have been that little Sylvie, if he had survived, was it Twinkle? Was it Sylvie?
Twinkle, Sylvie's the cat, and he did have a bad infection. And Twinkle,
If
yeah,
Twinkle,
if Twinkle had survived it, to
you
be
would have
honest.
you'd have had a really horrible time of it,
Mm,
So maybe the kindest thing was him leaving,
yeah,
And it's like when Rust died, wasn't it? We had a community group. We had 26
I
people.
know. It's
Were
the
you
only
on
one I missed. No, I missed that
it?
one.
Yeah, so 26 people sending him healing all at once. 10 minutes later, he left. You could say, oh, well, that's just pure chance. But I don't think it was. I think his leaving was him. That was his healing. It was my body's done. It's time for me to go now. And one of my healer friends rung me up and she said, he's gone, hasn't he? I said, yeah, how did you know? She said, I saw him. She said, somebody came and got him. She went through in gold light, Dave. That's the highest light you can go through in.
Oh,
That's what she said. And I hadn't told her he died, but she knew. But maybe, maybe it was the best thing for Twinkle Love.
sorry, I was just telling Tilly there's some tea for her downstairs that the neighbours made.
Looks nice. Kind of love it.
Yeah, yeah, and I would definitely have rather gone there in me knowing that she was in the best care than me to bring her home and for it to be freaking devastatingly in the middle of the night like it was with Sylvie, and so for that I'm grateful. Yeah, yeah, but it's that human thing. I wish I'd been there with her when she passed, and we put that stuff on, don't we? That like, was she alone? But yeah, yeah, just feel pretty shit about that goddamn shooting match.
John, what do you want to say, mate?
I'll mute myself and then let somebody else.
Yeah, John's got his hand up. John.
Um, what came to mind? Must have only come from the infinite, but the question the question I want to ask you is God works in mysterious ways, and I'd love to know my friend, I'm sure you've heard it, but what do you make of that that statement, kind of, in that whole context, and in the context of my illness, and that God works in mysterious ways, because without my friend Damir, and I don't know the outcome yet, and looking at my diet and seeing how what I talked to you about, these amino acids, it's made me, it's a whole diet thing, and how we get our amino acids and energy and all that, and part of that has been the supplementation of certain things that are missing that I'd left out of my diet. Maybe that was causing a lot of my mood swings or whatever, of mood, you know. I know thought is, yeah, is the, but then I would never have listened. And I wasn't listening to Damir because I was so exhausted and fearful. That aside, God works in mysterious ways. I'd love to know what you think about that, my friend, because I'm carrying on. I'm trying to stop it. I keep carrying. It's hard for me, you know, and I love that my heart goes out to a beautiful lady. And I woke up because of all this deficiency, whatever, and all this fear and that, and as you know, trying to come off the tablets or whatever. But so these supplements help with mood and obviously diet. Just saying that because that's what's happening. And I think I'll say no more and leave it with that. God works in mysterious ways.
Who are you asking? John, who are you asking? We asking Lise? Or we
No, I'm asking you, my friend. God bless Lise. My heart goes out to her.
Yeah, no. Have you heard?
I think I saw Lisa's post on Facebook.
Right.
So I know about. I didn't know all the details, but I saw it briefly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Lisa's been through a lot in a very short period of time. Do you want to speak to what John was just querying, that God works in mysterious ways?
I think the way that I'd hear that is, and I heard a little bit in what Lisa was saying, it's so easy for us to create an identity or a persona or a something for God. But I think it just comes back down to, like, we don't really know what life is, but there's something creating, and anyone that's ever touched on that space would come back and say love, peace, compassion. Like it's never fear, anxiety, pain. But we don't understand what life is. And I think it's so easy for us to look out at the form that it's taken and get lost in judgment. But it seems the more lost we get as human beings, the more we go into, like, the fear, the separation. And I think it's so hard for us because I remember someone saying to me once, who had had his own experience of touching that space in a way that, like, he dissolved. There was no I, him there. It takes somebody to see something else. And every spiritual teacher throughout time has pointed to the oneness of life. And we get to live in the idea of duality. And in that we have fear and loss and love and joy and the full expression of everything. But I don't understand why. I don't know why it shows up like this. But I think it comes back to like we don't understand, we don't know. But the more we seem to align with what Sid pointed to and what teachers throughout time have pointed to, we find ourselves in a state of non-judgment, peace, stillness, where everything actually that we need, we have. And we realize our wholeness can't be taken away from us. But I think the more I've looked into the principles, the more I realize I don't know. The more you look at God, the more you'll realize you don't know, because we can't know it. So in that way, it's always going to be a mystery. But like you said with Rust, it was so, you know, we could have looked at that like, oh, everyone sent healing and it didn't work because he didn't live. But actually, he was nearly 18 years old. His body was really not serving him. He was deaf, he was blind, he was actually the kindest thing for Rust was to pass over. And
couldn't say that at that moment, could we?
no, and it's almost like the healing that took place meant that we didn't have to see him suffer a huge amount. And I don't think either of us could have taken him. And who knows? But I don't think we could have taken him to the vet because we kept thinking he was going to recover. We kept thinking a miracle was going to happen. But when afterwards, we were both like, "Wow, the kindest thing for us was for him to pass." But when we asked everyone to send healing, it was about keeping him alive because we wanted him, because we were attached to him, because we love him, and because we're human. And there was nothing we knew about the principles that was going to take away the grief and the sadness that we felt at that loss. But I feel like that was probably the first time I'd ever lost something that I love so much, and I really just felt it. I didn't resist it. Like we'd be in the car chatting, and then suddenly I'd just be beside myself in tears, and that was what I was grateful for with the principles. It didn't take away the grief.
No.
It allowed me to fully feel it and not be afraid of it. And I think it allowed us to kind of be circumspect and and then to enjoy the moments of laughter when we remember something hilarious about him. So we allowed all of it to come. So that was what I was grateful for having the principles, but it doesn't take away from the feeling of sadness and grief and loss, and because that's what it is to be here as a human being, that we are going to have and lose. And I think the certainty I found when I came across the principles is that despite all the comings and goings of my own mind and of the physical world, what we're looking for doesn't go anywhere. What we're looking for doesn't get broken or damaged by feeling. So what we are can experience all of this. Like we can take it. And like I remember thinking after losing Rusty, I don't know how I'm ever going to feel okay again. And I was thinking, but I know that people lose family members. I know that people lose children, parents. They lose pets all the time, every single moment, every day. Someone's losing someone. And I know that people then carry on. But in that moment, I couldn't feel like I was ever going to feel all right again.
No.
But there was just a quiet kind of, but I know that can't be true, because I can look throughout my own life and I can look throughout life and I can see that built into life is death. So we have everything we need within us to face that. But I don't know, I feel like sometimes people think maybe if I understand enough about this, I'm somehow going to not have to experience the hard feelings. But that hasn't been my experience. I feel like I've learned to be able to allow them more. But it doesn't make it easier in the moment. But I think the other thing I heard a little bit in what you said, Lisa, is like it can feel personal. And we're so quick to make things personal, or if we've got a story about ourselves, we'll make anything fit that. So it's just recognizing that, oh, okay, God, I can even make this about me and me not being right, or or I'm being punished, but that's just a story that you've carried and you've seen through it so many times. And I just feel like from the little I do know about what you've gone through, it's just really go easy on yourself. And the kind of love that you show your animals and
Yeah.
Tilly and other people that you've had in your life, maybe show yourself a speck of that. And I think, yeah, that'll be some comfort to you.
I'd come back as one of your animals. You'd boot me out. I'm so untidy.
Oh no, 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 no. We would match each other on the tidiness. Yeah. Hmm. But thing is, the animals never. I give myself such a hard time about trying to be tidy. I try really hard to be tidy, and it doesn't work. I just explode. I can't unpack a case without it exploding. And but
I'm
do you know
scared. I'm scared about. I'm cautious of people who can, to be honest.
Oh, okay. I'll take that as a yeah. But you know what? The animals never mind. So they've got all their meds and their this and their that and the best quality food and whatever. They never go, Mom. Why isn't it perfect?
Why isn't it perfect?
And
I don't
although
know. I don't
Sylvie's
know what that would actually look like.
So why the animals were looking around thinking it's not perfect
Oh, right,
because of the
sorry.
mess.
Oh, my apologies.
I'm guessing that's what you meant, Lise.
and let me just say that although Sylvie's loss is felt very, very deeply, and nothing will ever replace him, Gingy, the ginger cat, is coming on way
Is what
because
look?
Gingy, wait, Ginger the ginger cat is coming from Derbyshire Cat Rescue on Wednesday. Nothing will ever replace Sylvie,
Oh,
but it's created a space for another being to be loved. And it's so easy to say, I can't go through this pain again. I can't go through it. It just hurts too much. But there's a being out there that needs love and a good home so that it in turn can make space for another cat to be taken in from the streets to receive veterinary care or whatever. So
yeah. Not
yeah,
about that, is it? It's about an opening, a
it's
rising.
better always.
Yeah.
It's always in every case better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Correct. I think that's correct.
Unless it's my ex. But hey, but yeah, no, I'm not letting him go unloved either.
See, it's funny how life works out, isn't it?
Mm.
You didn't never saw that one coming.
Oh no.
No, just have some faith in this life. That I feel like one of the things at the hard times, and I know you don't feel it right now. You've just said, I feel forsaken, like the footprints in the sand. Why is there only one set of footprints? Parable in the Bible. Why is there only one set of
And
footprints?
that's when I carried you. Mm.
You don't feel that at the time. That's why you think there's only one set of footprints. But one thing that I do notice is as you go through more and more hard times, especially when you go through this hard times, and I feel like I'm speaking about a grounding in life and a grounding and just even if it's just a glimpse of awareness of how you are creating experience, and it allows you to go through the hard times, and it allows you to notice stuff. And the more you start to notice, the more you kind of look back at your hard times and you realize, I dealt with it. I dealt with that hard time. Oh, and I dealt with that hard time, and I dealt with that hard time. It allows you to, it allows you to kind of face a hard time with a kind of like, just like Jen was just saying just then, like with this kind of faith that I have everything I need to deal with this circumstance. Can I see what I need to do in order to deal with this? No, not yet, because I don't know what's in the pipeline. It hasn't shown up yet, and I'm trying to deal with a future that hasn't shown up as yet. That's where people are trying to organize the future. But everything that shows up, you will, one way or another, you will figure it out. So when it comes to the media, you may just turn around and go, do you know what? Right now, I'm not in a position to talk about this, but I may be next week. Or you may be, do you know what? Yeah, I would actually, I think so. I think I should do something. I don't know. It's a very personal thing. Um, but one thing that you'll start to find, I feel like people start to find, is they start to find faith in themselves, and they start to find faith in life. It's like to be faced now with the prospect of the man who you kind of just got rid of out your life. I'm done with that. Next kind of thing. I'm going to get a cat, or a horse. Like to be looking after him, end of life. I think it shows you don't know what the future holds. We're so busy
And I
trying to
think,
hold the future, but none of us know what it holds. And a human being present is a far more useful thing to themselves, the family, and the world. A human being that's present, and how what is present. It's not trying to organize the future, and it's not saying if you don't think about the future. If you're going to go on holiday, book some tickets, make sure your passport's in order. Do you know what I mean? If you need a new passport, book an appointment. That's not saying don't use the mind to organize the future in a logical way, but trying to foresee all the things that could possibly go wrong to navigate them before they even perhaps don't even show up is just one of the greatest wastes of time. But I love the fact that I don't expect anything else from Lise, to be honest. The love and the kindness and compassion you're showing.
no, I feel it's kind of an honor that I get to do this for him and to show the bastard what relationships really are all about. It's about, this is what relationships are about. It's about being there in the shit times, not just, yeah,
Lessons to be learned all the way through it all.
yeah, all the way through.
You don't
Yeah.
know what any of them are yet, so just don't try and figure them out. Don't just try. What's this all about? It's one of these things that you just kind of you notice. You just notice little things in life, and you're like, wow. Like the man who had an affair, beat himself the shit out of himself. I mentioned this before. He had this affair, and he chose to stay with his wife. And I said to him, he's always spoken of it in such derogatory terms. And I just asked him, I said, what was the other side of it? What was the silver lining? What's the good stuff you got from it? Because it can't all be bad. It's not all bad. What's the good stuff you got from it? He was like, I've never thought about that. I said, well, come on, have a think. And he said, well, I suppose I'm more compassionate to other people who go through it. I said, were you not before? And he went, no. I said, oh, so you found love for people. You found love for more people. People who you didn't previously hold love for, you found love for them. What a gift. I'd never tell anybody how to think, never tell anybody how to feel. It's a totally personal thing. the thing I really want people to understand is they're all right. They're not going to be broken by any of it. You can feel as broken as you like. You can't be broken through it. And the more we align with the truth, which is that all experience, and when I say experience, I'm not talking circumstance. Circumstance is what happens. Experience is how we perceive things. Is the reality we experience. Okay. So the reality that we experience and the circumstance is outside. The reality we experience is inside. Okay. You can only experience circumstance via the inside. Okay. There is only the inside you ever get to experience. However, you do get to be aware of circumstance outside. Okay. Events, things that happen, circumstance, things going on in the world, circumstance. Okay, but there is nothing, there is no body, there is no thing that dictates our experience. That's one of the things I want people to understand. There is no thing outside of themselves that has the power to dictate their experience of life, how we perceive, how we are experiencing, how we are creating our personal, separate reality, our own personal experience of life. Okay, these are the things, but other than that, it's like feel, think, and don't be afraid to feel. Roosevelt, I think it was Roosevelt, said the only thing we need to fear is fear itself. I disagree with that statement, personally. What if you don't need to fear fear? What if it's all right? What if it's all right? What if it's all right? What if there's nothing to fear? Not even fear. I feel like you have an opportunity. People have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to be authentic, to be real, to stop hiding from themselves, to stop hiding themselves away. People, through challenge, people get to experience the darker sides of themselves quite often. Aspects of themselves. The only thing we're ever experiencing is aspects of ourselves. Different versions of ourself. It's all ourself. But as we go through it, we start to become more in alignment with authenticity. And what is authenticity? To me, authenticity is, again, we're back to that A word, acceptance. It's like it's being real and not trying to hide from ourselves, not trying to hide aspects of ourselves away. It doesn't mean go and spew it all over everybody, but it's being honest with ourselves and allowing ourselves to just be ourselves. We don't need to be some polished fucking version of ourselves. We don't have to be this, don't have to be superhuman. We can just be real. And really, I feel like having done this work now for 13 years, the thing that I always come back to this point, all people want is to feel comfortable in their own skin. That's all they want. They just want to feel comfortable with themselves. But many people don't feel that because they have such judgment about how they think and feel. They're not authentic. They're not being real with themselves. They're not being honest with themselves. They're lining themselves up for continual failure. Because as much as they can think whatever they think they should be like, the mind is an infinite fucking quantum creator. it's not bound by the laws of our ego. It's bound by the laws of the universe, whatever God is. It's bound by universal principles. I feel like the more I've kind of gone through life, having experienced what I've experienced, awakening to whatever degree I've experienced it, what it's boiled down to more than anything is just being real, just being honest and just being authentic and discovering more love in circumstances that I would never normally allow myself to feel it. For people who I never thought I'd allow myself to feel love for. And circumstances that were hard. And finding gratitude for the hard times. Thank you, hard times. Thank you for the learning. Thank you for the growth. What's your thoughts?
I don't even know where you started.
Doesn't matter.
I was just thinking last week, I hurt my back on Tuesday and then woke up on Wednesday, just about managed to get out of bed, but then couldn't get back into bed because I was in so much pain. And you were to work, so Dave had to literally like pick me up, put me back into bed, and then leave. And then Lucia was like crying. She wanted me to get a yogurt out of the fridge for her, and she was trying to actually open the fridge the wrong side. I luckily my niece was there, but she was only 17, 18, and she's like, "Don't want to get up yet." I was like, "Please, can you get up and get her a yogurt?" Because she's just going to scream until somebody does do it. But it was weird because my mum and dad had arranged for an osteopath to come and see me at home. They took off Lucia and Ishka. I had my treatment, and he said, "It's going to be painful, but you're not going to do any harm." So, and then it was weird. I sort of told my dad, I've had the treatment. He said, "Right, you just have some time to yourself." And I was like, "Oh, don't really know what to do now." And Steve had said, you need to move. So I'd like walked around the house for a bit. And then my dad had sent me a link to something about to do with abundance like weeks ago. And for some reason I was like, oh, that's got my remedy in. Just don't have too much.
Rush.
It's,
I'm joking. I am joking. I'm sorry. I just had to say.
what was it?
You said you watched the video.
Yeah, my dad had sent me weeks before. And I felt really emotional watching it. And all this stuff came up. We was talking about authenticity and this. It was a really interesting coaching session, actually. And then afterwards, I felt like quite reflective and noticing things about myself, noticing how much guilt was coming up that I'd hurt my back, and I'd said to Ishka, we're going to have this great day, and blah, 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 blah. And it's interesting because a couple of days later, when my back had settled down, I realised how quickly we have a thought or a story about ourselves, and then we think it means something or it's true. And then there's like this feeling that maybe we need to do something with it or to see through it. But it's like it all just like fizzled out. And I was like, God, it comes in and it looks like everything and it looks real and we identify as it and it means something and it's about our character, it's an aspect of us. But then it just as quickly can vanish and you're in a new moment with a whole new experience. And I just found it fascinating because it doesn't matter how long I've been around this understanding and how much I speak about like the comings and goings of the mind. And you use the metaphor of the ocean and like, every thought that comes in, like it's still made of water. We still think some of them that come in are more real or more solid and we need to do something with. But it's just a cool observation that, what, I hadn't had any sleep for days. I was in a lot of pain and my thinking seemed to, I was pretty emotional. My thinking then was creating all of these like ideas about, oh, but you still feel a lot of guilt and you still try and I don't know, it was just so much noise. And then it was so nice to just when I'd shifted in consciousness, all the story quietened down and it doesn't exist. And I think that, like, again, Sid would continually talk to people about it's a shift in consciousness, raise your level of conscious state. Like, from down here, everything looks one way, and from up here, it looks a different way. Notice that. And we're going to go up and down in consciousness. And actually, the further into like pure consciousness we move towards, we will be more loving, kind, compassionate. Everything feels easy, it flows. And then when we're in a lower state of consciousness, things feel more tricky and difficult, we're more judgmental. And it's like, if we know that about ourselves, I feel like we maybe take this slightly less seriously. We find way more gratitude, like when we're here, and then also the noticing and the contrast we become grateful for. But I feel like we take it all so seriously so much of the time. And I don't know, I, I think the principles has allowed me to just to see we're storytellers and we're continually telling stories and writing stories and believing them and changing them. And but the point is noticing if there is an awareness here experiencing all of the comings and the goings, and that it's never gone anywhere and it's never been damaged. And that's been here and being a human and living and feeling. But it's so I can see how compelling when we're in a lower state, it seems that it's so much more compelling. But I was really grateful the other day when I just sort of like popped up. I was like, wow, that I could have gone to town with all those things I thought I noticed about myself. But it's like it's as if there is a self that's somehow fixed that we then need to maybe do something with. But I kind of saw it afterwards of like, oh no, that's just a creation in the moment that is no more real than the creation I made as a kid when I used to love like playing fairies with my cousins. Like, they're all just little creations and we don't have to go to work on our creations. I feel like the awareness grows in us of we're storytellers, we're creators. We move up and down in consciousness and then life looks different, it's coloured differently. And I think there's a kindness built into that. And it's not personal. And then you see that's true for everybody. So I don't even know if that has anything to do with what you were talking about, but I hadn't really taken in what you were talking about.
That's cool.
I had put Lucia to bed, and for at least half an hour before bed, she was screaming because she'd lost a blue Duplo brick. And I was like, we've got so many Duplo bricks. What about a red one? What about a yellow one? What about a green one? It's this one. And then there's another blue one, but it's not the right one. It's not the right Duplo brick. But the problem is, she's probably right. She probably has dropped it because she decided to take this dragon that she'd made around Braintree with us and then to her friend's house and then have it in the car under the blanket with her. So she's probably lost it. But it's insane what we can get fixated on as human beings. And it's easy to see it about a blue Duplo block, but it's harder to see when you're like, my character feels so much guilt, and we get fixated on it. But I'm like, that's me getting fixated on a blue Duplo brick. It's the same thing, but we get so fixated. And it's cool seeing it in a 3-year-old because it's easy to see.
It's a reminder, isn't it?
But then I'm like, oh, I do that about all kinds of things. Yeah, so it just took the seriousness out of it. But it has also meant that I had to nearly fall asleep with her to get her to go to sleep. So then I wasn't quite with it when I came in. And it's always weird to come in and have missed half the conversation.
I know, I can imagine it's hard.
But I can't listen because you swear too much. I did have it on upstairs.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Lise, do you want to say anything?
Something that came to me, which was lovely, was like, I got this picture that there was like a circus, and everybody sat round the outside, and the circus is playing in the middle, like the circus of life, of what's gone on the last couple of weeks and stuff, but how somebody would step from the outside into your circus of what's going on and show kindness and compassion and help and stuff. And it's funny how like my friend Nadine came up from Manchester, and she got to meet my friend Sean, who I talk about, and my friend Sarah, who I talk about, and they were having these conversations and connecting and stuff. And that was lovely. And then, like, Sarah's old dog, very old dog, passed the morning that Twinkle passed. And so I put my grief aside and was there for Sarah, and Nadine, who'd met Sarah, could be there for Sarah also in her time of, and just like how this circus of life plays out in the middle, but people from the seats come in and out, and to help with this circus, and just how beautiful it's been in a way to see how much like Twinkle had touched so many people's lives, her beautiful joy and stuff, and just how this circus is kind of spinning round, and we get, go back to our seats and then go up and help somebody and help them see things a different way, and how people get connected by grief or tragedy or trauma and stuff. And it, the bits of enrichment that they bring, and if we try and view it as a circus or a theatre performance in the middle, and try and sit back more and kind of watch it, rather than, I know I'm a bugger for adding special effects and moving the set around and going fiddling with things instead of staying in my bloody seat and just watching it. I'm like getting up, going, no, 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 that needs to be over there, and fiddling. And I'm sorry, Jenny, that's not what you were talking about, but it just came to me that was a lovely thing that I've just remembered. But yeah, how we do get caught up in this is real and stuff, and if we can just sort of sit back and but sometimes we do need to get up and go, hey, that person that's up there, sorry if that was not.
I apologize, Lisa. You said something.
I was just going to say, when you just said, it's like, I'm glad it all feels real. Like, it would be really weird to be here and it not feel real as a human being. So I know sometimes it's so hard, it gets lost in language, but I'm glad I don't see it as thought in the moment, as an experience. I'm glad it feels real, that I really love someone and I really grieve someone, and I really, like, I'm glad it all feels real. But I'm also grateful for this deeper part, or it gets so lost in words, but that there's a sense that you can see that it's not at the same time. So I feel like everything ends up being a complete, what's it when the dichotomy is the word? It's, is that the right word?
Don't know. But I know the word you're trying to find.
Do
But
you?
I'm quite tired. I think so. It like the not polarity.
It's like that though.
Is it paradox?
Yes.
Paradox will do nicely.
done.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. And you've got 2 kids and you've managed that, so well done.
Yeah, well done, Dan. Stop showing off. Nobody likes the smart ass, though. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, but I feel like life is a paradox. That's the right word. It's real and it's not. Like, there's one, but then there's many, and I just all of it.
Lise, you said something really nice. You said people get connected by grief and tragedy. And, you know, there is love coming forth because of grief and tragedy. There's love being drawn out of people and brought into the world and into their behaviors and into the way they are interacting in this world because of grief and tragedy. Love is being born. You know, so there's always this kind of balance if we're prepared to look. I'm really grateful you said that. To me, that's a really, really beautiful observation. Because it's true. When the shit hits the fan, that's when you really get to see the best of humanity, I think. Like when earthquakes happen and buildings fall down, what do you see all over the television? You see people who don't know other people desperately trying to get people out of places. They'll put themselves in danger to help another human being. You know what I mean? It's like, because that's really, when the shit is the fan, that's when you see what humanity really is made of. And when people get connected by grief or tragedy, it's like, yeah, that's people coming together in love. And love is healing. Love is the healing agent. Love is the healing force. Love is the thing. Love is the thing that healed my life. It was divine love. It was an experience of divine love. It was an experience of God love. A love beyond anything I can comprehend. And the healing capacity within that, and the capacity to untangle my mind creations in a moment and just let them go. You know, it's that connection. It's that connection that can never be disconnected. But people coming together, getting connected by grief and tragedy, well, that's beautiful. You know, it reminds me a little bit of thing that came to me just before was that parable in that it can't be the Bible because it talks about a helicopter, but that thing where the man's on his roof, you know,
Jesus said it.
Jesus said it. Yeah, it's Jesus said it. Was it Jesus? Was it Buddha?
So.
Was it Jesus or Buddha?
One of those, yeah.
He's on his roof and Jesus is like he's shouting, "God help me!" So God sent him a helicopter.
I thought it was a boat anyway in this story.
I sent him a boat first.
So it could have been. It could have
sent him a boat, and the man on the roof said, "No, no, God's going to save me." You must have heard it.
I think he actually sent 3 boats. I don't think it was a helicopter.
No, he sent a helicopter.
I don't think
he sent a bloody helicopter. Jesus said.
Don't look out. Aaron.
Anyway, he drowned because he didn't get the boat because he didn't notice. You know, and
it's a Bible story.
Is it egg?
It is.
Is it?
The Bible story of the man on the roof is about a paralyzed man whose friends lowered him through a hole in the roof to get him to Jesus for it. Hang on. Jesus healed him. Carry on.
What kind of boat was it?
Hang on, he was being lowered through a roof. He wasn't on the roof. Hang on. Carry on.
Oh no, because you're going to correct me, aren't you? You might as well get it right first time.
The story, often called the parable of the drowning man, tells of a man trapped in a flood who refuses help from rescuers, believing God will save him directly. He rejects a passing rowboat then a motorboat.
A motorboat.
And finally a helicopter.
In the Bible.
How can this be a parable from...
See, I told you.
motorboat, and then finally helicopter.
Helicopter.
All while praying for God's salvation. After drowning, he reaches heaven and asks God why he wasn't saved, to which God replies that he'd sent the rowboat, the motorboat, and the helicopter.
Can you ask AI what chapter that's under or whatever?
No.
No. Bloody hell.
You're right.
I'm right, aren't I? It's in the Bible. Helicopters in the Bible. So if you learn naught else tonight, yeah, Lise, sending you so much love. And I think everybody who's watching this is going to be sending you love. So know that as well. That there are
And
people.
a friend set up a crowdfunding page, and that's been amazing, and that's been a huge show of love.
Do you want to tell us what that crowdfunding page is called?
I think it's called Twinkle. I could put it in the, well, I can try and see if I can share it to the WhatsApp group thing.
If you share it to us privately, and I'm going to put it in the description below.
Okay. How shall I send it to you? In a helicopter? A motorboat?
I won't get in it.
Shall I send it you?
Private. Just send it to me on WhatsApp.
Send it to you, Jenny, on WhatsApp.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to send you a lovely photograph of. Going to send you a lovely photograph that I found that morning, and it's just beautiful. And I don't know why, but it says a lot, and it's not of Twinkle. It's just of something in nature that is just beautiful, and
Thanks, Lisa.
like Twinkie was.
Right.
And a picture of Twink.
There'll be people all over the world sending you love. So
thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
That's just, the love is worth more than.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it?
And we'll send love to the man as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I really hope that I kind of almost pray that he, as I say, I don't want the dog putting down at all. I don't. That's not what I want. I want for him for the dog to find a good home and to know what love is. And I want for him to be able to find something that makes him change, that helps him see things in a different way, like I'm having to try and see things in a different way.
When he's ready.
Yeah, when he's ready.
We'll send him love as well.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Very easy to condemn the most lost people on this planet. But really, they're the people who need the love the most.
I know. I lost my beautiful nephew to a drug overdose, who was the most beautiful soul because he was lost.
Right.
So nobody sets out in this world thinking, I want to be a loser. I want to be a druggie. Nobody. No.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks all for being here. Dave, thanks for joining us, man. I know it's silly o'clock where you are.
Thank you. Sorry, I always come late. I wake up at the wrong time. Sorry about it.
That's all right. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, isn't it, with you?
No, we are going into better times because of the time difference changes. So right now is 7 a.m. So it was lazy on my part more than anything else. And then when you guys change your clock, it's still 1 hour ahead. So we're going into 8. It will be 8 now. So
cool.
So it's going to be much better. And thank you so much for holding these.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Just apologies for last couple of weeks. It's been full on, and it was my birthday on Monday. So
happy birthday, belated.
Yeah. So I'm 46. I can't see your face. I saw Lisa's face when I said that.
Oh, wait. Yeah. In the dark.
Do you
Hey!
think you're older?
Yeah,
Did she think you're older?
yeah, she thought I was older. No, she said I was 36. She thought I was 36.
Lucia thought you looked like you were. Yeah.
Did she think I
I
was?
thought you were 36.
Thanks again, Lisa. Say it again.
36.
Beginning and the end of the call. I like that. Should do this more. Thanks, Liz. All right, let's call it an evening. Lise, thank you. So thank you. Fucking hell.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Well done for bringing that tonight, love. You asked, is this almost like, is it acceptable to bring to a community group? You said it right at the beginning. It's life. And what we want this community group to be about is about real people, real conversations. Do you know what I mean? And let's have conversations about some really hard things. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not be funny about. Let's bring it. And I really appreciate you bringing. To me, in all honesty, one of the hardest conversations I've done in how long have I been doing this now? Since 2015, 10 years. Yeah.
Community group.
Yeah. So, no, Lisa, really appreciate you bringing that, and thank you everybody for being here, and thank you for all the support you've shown Lisa and love, and yeah, thanks everybody. Being Monday.
Yeah, we're back in Cumbria.
Yeah, back in Cumbria Monday. So Monday we will be back on it, hopefully Monday night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
God bless, John.
Good. See ya.
Everybody.
God bless.
God
Loads-
bless.
God
Yeah,
bless.
thank you.
Cheers, dude.